He said, I used to imagine that if Manoj Kumar could crash in Himalayas and get Malasina, maybe somebody will be there for me also. But as you mentioned, he was made for Mrs. Dave, Mrs. Veena Dave. He had to climb down from Himalayas to go to Nagpur to marry her. But he has had no regrets. His married life has been, you see, something which one would envy. Brothers, capacity to acclimatize, whether it is on the high altitude in Leh and Ladakh, or it is in a totally alien cultural environment like Andhra Pradesh, where he wouldn't understand Telugu, or it was in a cosmopolitan place like Bombay as Chief Justice, is commendable. He was loved as Chief Justice in Andhra Pradesh and so also in Bombay. In Delhi, of course, I have seen the presence of such a large gathering here on his farewell function is a testimony by itself about his popularity among the members of the bar. But during the past about 1 year, I must have seen 5 or 6 brother judges departing on retirement. Conventionally, lawyers come to the first court when we rise and they speak a few words. But I have never seen the kind of affection and the kind of warmth and the genuine feelings of that goodwill for justice, which I saw for Justice Dave today, when the small farewell in that first court went on for almost half an hour. It went on and on because everybody was so very happy with Justice Dave. I think you people have had enough of patient and very courteous, very polite judges. I think we need to get some rude, some fast, some tough judges soon to the Supreme Court so that you have a little change because you have got used to us. I thought I am quite patient, but I can't claim to be as patient as him. He has been, you see, an embodiment which every judge, I think, can emulate. Brothers, contribution in the realm of law is known. Mr. Sinha has briefly narrated the kind of judgments he has delivered. But most important out of them all is that he has had a very caring and a compassionate heart. Within the four corners of law, if you can do something to help somebody, that is, I think, the real test. Human life is, you see, ephemeral. Law is what the Supreme Court thinks it is. And if a judge is compassionate, is sensitive, he can always find some way out to help. And Justice Dave has helped, it appears, a very large number of people, to which you are all witnesses because your cases have come up before him time and again. As chairman of National Legal Service Authority, he brought practically revolution in the way the legal services were offered, the number of lok adalats that were held, the number of cases that were disposed of, the number of schemes that were launched, and the progress that was made. I compliment him for his success as executive chairman of NALSA also, while I had opportunity to work with him as the patron-in-chief. There's only one grievance that I have, and I think in that grievance, Brother Kher also joins me. We used to be members of the purchase committee for some time. So we would sometimes say, all right, let us buy some vehicle for carrying the files to the judges' houses. Brother would have a serious objection. If the files have to be carried to judges' houses, why do you need a vehicle? It can go in a three-wheeler. Why do you spend so much? After all, this done within a little less money. You see, he was so immaculate, so concerned, so prudent, that anything that passed through his scrutiny was the most prudent thing to do. That was, I think, a great lesson to us, that when you deal with public money, you need to treat it as though it is your own money that you are spending. I only hope Mrs. Dave didn't suffer that at home, but I can assure her that even if she has suffered, that is only because judges are low-paid employees. With Justice Dave retiring and with money flowing in abundance, that stinginess in Justice Dave will disappear, and he will not know where to keep all the money. Of course, Mr. Rohtage must make arrangements for exchange and monetization and all that. That has to be done. Without that, it will be difficult. But I wish Justice Dave and Mrs. Dave very happy, very comfortable post-retirement life. I am sure you will not only be reminded of him and his judgments for a long, long time when you read the law reports, but you will also see him in many, many functions here. And on behalf of the President of the Bar Association, I can today say as head of the family that Justice Dave, you will be invited, you are a permanent invitee to all functions in this bar. Because with this kind of goodwill, you can give a tough fight to any candidate for the next election. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. And generally, farewells have a very somber and serious environment, and today we see everybody has a smile on their face. It is a true reflection of what everyone here feels. This would also be the last farewell function that this executive committee is organizing. And in the last 11 months, we have bid farewells to 6 honorable judges of this court. I have very beautiful lines, sir, which I wrote for you. While I was sitting on the dais, I was thinking about all the judges who've retired. So I dedicate this to Honorable Justice Vikramjit Sen, Justice Iqbal, Justice Kalifullah, Justice Nagappan, Justice Gowda, Justice Shiv Kirti Singh, sir, and also to you, sir. It goes like this. You always inspired us to push the limits of success. You always motivated us to continuously progress. You always made us believe that we were born for big things. You were the magician who gave us a pair of wings. As your retirement is here, we are feeling very blue. How can we not feel upset to lose a judge like you? With those words, I would request you, sir, to come and address everybody here, sir. Can we have a huge round of applause for Justice Anil Dave, please?
Honorable Chief Justice, my dear friend Mr. Mukul Rohtage ji, Ajit Sinha ji, Gaurav ji, Ranjit Kumar ji, all my respected senior advocates, my brother and sister judges, my dear lawyer friends, members of the registry, ladies and gentlemen. Honestly, I have become very nervous, but I don't know what would I say. But I was just all the while thinking one thing. I'll say one thing to my wife after going home कि मीना तू मानती नहीं है मैं really अच्छा हूँ यार तू कभी भी नहीं मानती. I'll have to go and tell her कि मीना you see you are always blaming me कि क्या यार मिल गया ये. लेकिन I'm happy today that at least I will remember. I'm happy. You see, otherwise it is very difficult. I used to say whenever somebody used to tell me in the court that sir let the matter be first on the board or first on, so I used to always say it is very difficult. You see, computer and my wife, these are two most difficult things to convince and understand. It's very difficult. So by just saying this thing in lighter way, I would tell the concerned advocate that you please do one thing. You mentioned in the morning at 10:30, we'll see that your matter is taken up. But I would never give instruction to the computer department that put this matter first, put this matter second, put this third. It is not my function. So that is what I used to say in a lighter way. And then fortunately for me, lawyers were so good that they would feel happy कि okay चलो भाई बेचारा वो भी मेरे जैसा दुखी आदमी है, उसकी भी वाइफ नहीं मानती, उसकी भी वाइफ नहीं समझती, मेरे भी घर में ऐसा ही है, चलो ठीक है. Then they used to pity me also. And in that process, he would forget his matter and he would say, Lordship pleases. He would go. But anyway, I'm really thankful to all the fine words. I don't know to what extent I deserve all these things. I'm really thankful to the bar. to my brother judges, to my staff, everybody. You see, for a judge, it is difficult to work unless the lawyers cooperate. And I am really lucky that I am in company of very, very nice lawyers here. Fortunately for me, I had no problem here except one small problem which I have to ignore. Mahalakshmi Pavani will tell everybody afterwards, not today. Otherwise, I was trying to keep cool. She told me that there is only one day when you lost your temper a little bit. I said, yes, I know. And in the evening when I introspected, I thought necessarily I said something to somebody which I ought not to have said. But I will not tell you right now. You just tell anybody, whosoever wants to know. I don't know how my fate brought me here. Basically a chartered accountant. My father wanted me to practice as a chartered accountant. I did my CA. And I had decided that I would never practice as a chartered accountant. I would never go before any income tax officer. 100% no, that was my decision. So I was just wondering what I would do. And the fate, I do not know how I came here in judiciary as a lawyer. I may just share something with you. I don't know what to say, but I'm just sharing my views and how I came here. As for example, as a, we say, when for becoming a chartered accountant, you have to do some internship. Article clerk. I was an article clerk with a very fine gentleman named Mr. Shamik Diviti, a very straightforward person. Very honest man. Once he told me to appear before an income tax officer with my client. I went there. Client didn't understand anything. Officer. I went twice. Very simple thing. He did not understand. My boss told me that the way you are not making him understand this is such a simple thing, this simple entry, you are unable to explain him. Should I go? I said, no, sir. I'll go next. Let me go next time. My client said that do something, officer ko kuch kar do. I said, no, don't say about such things. Third time when I went, the officer understood everything. The work was done. When I came back, on the way, I was with my client in his vehicle. He said, "Ke Manu bhai, kaise wo samajh gaya this time?" Then he just looked at me. He said, "Anil bhai, aapko lagta hai aapne samjhaya?" I was just looking at him. He said, "Don't tell anybody. I paid him." I was stunned. I tell you, this was such a simple entry of accounts which any arts graduate can understand. And when I came to, I told him that don't tell Shamik bhai, don't tell our boss. He would not like it. He said, okay, I'm not going to tell you, but I just shared with you because I was a young boy. I had just passed my intermediate and I was going for all this work I was learning. On that day, I decided that even if I become a chartered accountant, I will never practice on income tax side. Once I have to pay some money or on my client pays to him and still I have to address him as sir. Why should I address somebody, a corrupt man, as a sir? Why should I do that? Why should I become party to that? Of course, my client had paid, but I didn't like it because I thought that, first of all, I thought that I convinced him. I was so happy. I was a young man. I had passed my intermediate, so I must be around 21, 22 rather. I thought, okay, anyway, chalo, I am successful now. Twice I failed, now I succeeded. And when he told me that it is not your success, it is my success, that I paid him. Honestly, I felt very bad. That night I could not sleep. I said, okay, why should I go and appear before such a rascal? I mean, he has to be paid and still I have to address him as sir, no sir, yes sir, ha sab. I said, why should I do that? During my college days, I had read autobiography of Justice Chagla, Roses in December. I read another book, Murder of, and Gandhi's murder and so many and other murder stories, Justice Khosla. So I was a little bit interested in law. These two books I read when I was preparing for my BCom. At that time I thought that this appears to be an interesting subject. So when I was preparing for my CA, I thought let me have some fun also, let me go to college also. So I joined law college, and fortunately for me at that time there used to be part-time college, morning college. So in the morning I used to go to college. I don't know how many periods I was attending, lectures that I was attending, but thereafter I used to go for my audit work. And then I decided to become a lawyer, as I decided not to practice on taxation side, and taxation side is the only paying side because in audit normally people don't earn. So this is how I had decided that not to be corrupt. And in High Court I knew that there was nobody who was corrupt. I had not to make any payment to anybody, and therefore I think I was very happy there. And I am very happy that I have dealt with all persons who are very good, very nice, all judges before whom I appeared. So I was really happy and I was contented man. And I don't know how fate brought me here as a judge. As a judge also I was very comfortable, fortunately because of cooperation extended by you. As a lawyer, once or twice I was a little bit upset because some judge must have told me something. One judge I remember that he fired me unnecessarily and I was not at fault at all. With 20 years practice and 20 years judgeship, I know today that I was unnecessarily fired only because of some whim of the judge. I was in a very bad shape. One very senior advocate, Haribhai Shah, who was a retired judge, he was looking at, I mean, I'm just talking to Mr. R.P. Bhatt because he knows him. He was sitting next to me in the court. When I came out, he said, young man, don't worry, the judge might say anything, you have not to bother much about it. Thick skin rakho. And I was, honestly, because of his affection which he showed and with his affection he told me, okay, don't get upset, and I was in tears. I thought that why judge told me this thing? It was not my fault. He could have rejected my petition. He could have done whatever he